Is weed a better option than taking a pill? Neither are the best option in most cases. Were you born with a joint in hand, or did you come out with a prescription ready to go? These internal issues like anxiety, depression, anger, ADHD, etc., all serve a purpose, and they arise to get our attention. They are ancient survival mechanisms built into us to help us stay alive. Most things like anxiety, depression, and ADHD are all superpowers, as I like to call them. So it's understandable why, when we're trying to suppress or block out these emotional intensities in our lives, that we still need to keep adjusting the dosages of marijuana or the pill. Our system on some level feels threatened, a need to survive and overcome. So that's why the frequency, intensity often increases over time. Your system is shouting out to be heard, seen, and understood. And the body rebels when we try to suppress, ignore, and avoid how we feel. There's a reason that you have these intensities in your life. You may not be really cognizant of what that is, but you have a general idea. And the quality of the questions that you ask yourself can really help to facilitate finding out those deeper layers of the onion, as I like to call it. You have to kind of start peeling back all these different things that you think are the problem until you actually get to the main problem. And from the main issue, all of those other attributes, all those other things that are attached to that automatically get resolved because you took out the head of the snake. You dealt with the main issue, and then all these other sub-issues end up going away quite naturally. That's why even when I've helped people quit marijuana and no longer have those relapses, they end up doing some kind of 180 in their life. They find that they change many different areas that they weren't happy with prior, but maybe they just weren't that aware of how unhappy those things were making them, because it was more of a subconscious issue, and therefore they had their rationalizations, justifications, and reasonings to why they continued down those things, or why they continued down that specific avenue in life. So what's really going to happen in your life if you're choosing between this or that, weed or the pill? Why not just get to the root cause, and then you don't need either of those things? Sure, there are people that are an exception to the rule, and you may have high blood pressure or some other issue in your life. But even on that same level, sometimes you'll find that by dealing with the stressors in your life, even your physical health often improves. So things that you had issues with in the past, when it comes to your physical health, might actually just get resolved just by changing some of the internal issues that are going on in your life. You know, there's actually a really amazing study that was done on people that had autoimmune issues. And because of those autoimmune issues, they decided that, hey, why don't we just send these people away for a 2 weeks vacation and see how they feel? Well, during that 2 weeks vacation, something kind of amazing happened. Their markers for the inflammatory autoimmune response went down. And if anything, their symptoms almost completely vanished or vanished entirely. So you would think that, isn't that great? They went on a vacation, they've healed, and now their life is forever changed. Well, what they actually found at the end of that study is when those same people came back to their life that they were living prior to that vacation, all those same autoimmune responses kicked back on. The body started to experience all those old symptoms when they were back in their original environment. So if that might help you kind of get a deeper understanding of just how much our lives really do impact the overall quality of our life. If we're struggling emotionally with work, you may have some kind of physical ailment that will start to arise from that job. If you struggle within your marriage or your relationships with family, the same thing. You might start experiencing some negative health consequences. Because let's face it, we already know that science points to that stress in the body is actually absolutely horrible for the integrity of the cells as well as for the longevity of our systems. So living a life that is stress-free is something that should be prioritized. And if you don't start chipping away at all these things that you keep avoiding by turning to something as quick as taking a drag from a joint or popping a pill, eventually those things are going to continue to stack. Your body is going to literally start to rebel more and more till it gets your attention, till those solutions no longer seem feasible, that you actually now have to start sitting in this awareness and start asking those quality questions. And that's where someone like me comes in as a professional, because I already know the ways to start navigating our conversation. There's going to be the words that you use. There's going to be the micro expressions, the body language, eye patterns. There's so many different layers to our bodies and how they communicate. There is the conscious conversation, but then there is even little small moments of subconscious tells that help me as a professional navigate that conversation towards more of those subconscious moments. And as the session continues, eventually those things unravel. And as they unravel, your problem ceases to exist. So if this is something you're struggling with and you want help, reach out.